Welcome to Aggressor Adventures. Meet accounting associate Beth Murrian.
Well, I was born in Ohio, little town called Willard, and grew up. I moved south when I was 16. See my dad, never went back home.
We asked Beth where she grew up in the South.
In Charleston, South Carolina.
Her parents were polar opposites personality-wise.
My dad was a wild man. My mom was the conservative one.
Beth shares what it was like growing up with multiple siblings.
There were 5 of us total, 4 girls and 1 boy. So yeah, back then it was get outside, so we were always outside. Except for that, we used to take a vacation once a year in the summertime. I'm in the middle child, so I always say I'm the redheaded stepchild, but older sister, brother, and then 2 younger sisters, and all pretty not too far apart in age, 2 to 4 years apart. Most of them are here.
She learned to love her adopted cats.
Well, we moved from Charleston up to the country in a little place called Tillman, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like being in the country or not because I never had lived in the country. So we rented an old farmhouse, and one day there were 3 little baby kittens outside the back porch, and my husband's like, "Oh, we got to give them something to eat. They're starving." I'm like, "We don't have nothing here. We just give them some cheese or some ham or whatever's in the refrigerator." And so they became our kittens. Even though they were feral, they are now not so much. And I never had anything to do with cats before that, but I sure do love them now.
Beth recalls her education from kindergarten through high school.
Well, most of the early education was up in Ohio, because, like I said, I moved down here when I was 16, and I finished up in Charleston at Middleton High School.
She reminisces about childhood fun in Ohio.
We were just always doing stuff. Up in Ohio, got all that daggum snow that I couldn't live with now if you paid me to. But we went ice skating in the winter and sledding down Uncle Richard's Hill, and in the summertime we always went swimming down to the pool. Mom and Dad always bought the summertime pass, and that's where we'd be unless it was raining or something. But we'd always be together, most of us, and that's what we did. Rode our bikes, walked to school down the alleys, because they had alleys back then. We used to cut through the yard and all that stuff, and then run home for lunch. Mom would fix lunch. But got some good memories from up there, most definitely, but I could not do it at my age now. I wouldn't want to.
Beth explains how she was introduced to accounting.
We lived in a neighborhood, and the first house coming in were some good, friendly people, and they owned 3 different service stations in Charleston, 3 different areas, and I was looking for a job, and anyhow, they used to call the dad the old man, and so the old man was always outside, and I stopped and talked to him and all that, and mentioned that I was looking for a job. He said, "Well, I think Miss Pauline can hook you up with the job." Tell me we got these service stations, and so I went to work with her and went to all 3 of the stations, learned how to do accounting, and went from there, and that's all I've ever done, accounting. Learned more and more. I still learn. Never stop learning.
She vividly remembers how she met her husband.
My husband. It was Christmas break, and I worked in the schools for 22 years. I was a bookkeeper at schools, and it was Christmas break, and my friend and I were looking for a place to get a bite to eat. It was lunchtime, And so there's this little lounge up to the corner we'd never been in before. We said, let's see if they got some lunch. And we stopped, and there wasn't any customers in there but us. and then the girl that worked there. And then I said, well, who's the manager anyhow? Because I don't have nowhere to hang my pocketbook. And he come walking up. She said, right there he is. And so I said, look here, we got to have some hooks to hang our pocketbooks on. And so the next day, he had all the hooks up there. And it just, it just went from there.
Beth dearly loves her only child.
My son. I was unable to have children. I had too many issues. And so I just prayed that God would bless us with the son, with a boy. I was specific. And that he did. We found out about 4 months before that. It was somebody that knew somebody that, And so they brought him to us when he was 2 days old. And if you never have children, you do not know, even with just one, that part of your soul, of your brain, that all of a sudden is there, And so yes, raised him, Philip Avery. Did you know that Philip was one of the disciples? I did not know that. Anyhow, he's 26 years old now, and he's one of the shift managers at Starbucks, and he loves it, but it's a lot. He just got moved to that position, and it's a lot of stress. But I just told him, you just got to keep plugging away. You'll get it. And so he lives in Charleston still. He stays with his dad, and but he's come for a visit at the end of the month. And so, but I still see him often when I go back home. And yeah, he's my boy.
She and her husband really know how to have fun, relax, and enjoy life.
Oh, I'll just tell you, I love living in the country. We bought a place, and it was originally a 70-acre farm. And the two of the people that live out there were the sons. One was two of the sons, and one was the daughter, but she passed away. But so we were able to purchase their parents' home, which they had moved from another subdivision and then added on. And but anything outside, my husband's always in the garden. I'm always pulling some weeds or planting something myself, and just finding the right spot where the breeze comes through. And working on the back porch, working on the screen-in porch. Always something else you can do. Being in the country, loving it. And that song that Blake Shelton sings, God's Country, that's what we're going to put up with some railroad ties, because that's what it feels like. We just love being outside. Love being outside.
Aggressor Adventures, for your adventure of a lifetime.